I feel like facetious is one of those words that no one really knows the actual meaning of. However, when someone says it, we all sort of go, ah, yes, yes, you're right. That person who's just said that has read some books and probably went to a grammar school and probably works in marketing or something. They are wise. But what does it actually mean? I mean, I'm not actually sure before I did the. I mean, obviously, I know now because I'm doing this to camera, but before I did the research, I didn't really know properly. But now I do know. So now I'm going to. This video was particularly put together for my colleague Drew, who, when he says facetious because he's Welsh, it sort of sounds light and fluffy and kind of nice. Unlike when an English person says it, I feel like I'm being told off. And that sort of sums up that sort of sums up the confusion over the definition of this word. One is sort of bright and fluffy, and the other one is being told off. I meant to get a Muddy Waters joke in there, and then I was going to put a clip in of Muddy Waters, which I'm going to go and do. But then it didn't really happen. I didn't really say, so I've missed the joke. Not that it was really any kind of joke. I mean, it was just a... On with the video, come on. So let's start at the start, shall we? Facetious is an adjective. It sort of has lots of sounds in it. Facetious. It's a bit like in Elf, when Elf asks that man what his name is, and he says Francisco, and then he's like, Francisco? That's fun to say. Anyway, facetious contains all the vowels, and it contains all of them in order, which is A, E, I, O, U, which when I was a kid I was taught to remember it as A, E, I, O, U, which sums up the person who... My dad taught me how to say it like that, and that sums up his confrontational style quite nicely, and probably maybe says quite a lot about me as well. The original etymology is reasonably clear. It goes back through French and then Latin, and that Latin means elegant, fine, and courteous. The root, the absolute root is unclear, as most of these absolute roots are, but seems to go back to a much older Latin word meaning torch. And no, none of the research turned up any kind of, because how you spell facetious, which is face-cious, it doesn't seem to be related to the word face. That's just a homophone, face, visage, boat race. Synonyms are witty, blithe, jocular, but also salty, sarcastic, irreverent, droll, which sort of sums up. Well, again, there is some debate as to what this word means. I appear to be having erection issues here. So there appears to be two distinct definitions of what facetious means. If we go to this tiny Collins English Dictionary and Thesaurus, all right, boasty. The definition in this is given to jesting. And then we move on to this The Little Oxford Dictionary. We find that it says given to or marked by pleasantry, waggish. Oof, bit of windy pops there. And then if we go to the Oxford Compact English Dictionary, we find that it says intending or intended to be amusing, especially inopportunely. For my money, that's the best definition and probably gets about as close as we can get to the actual use that we use it in everyday life. That was a good sentence, wasn't it? So some of the synonyms seem to point towards it being, well, something sort of out of turn, like you've said something out of turn, but there's no kind of real nasty intent behind it. A bit like, I don't know, maybe farting in a meeting. I mean, you haven't done anything sort of intentionally bad, and maybe in the future your colleagues might look back and laugh, but it's gonna, it's not, I mean, you haven't shat in your own pants, you've not done something terrible, but you've definitely done something which is a bit distasteful. So when you're being facetious, sometimes you don't really realise that you're doing that, but the intention is to maybe bring light to a difficult situation or say something that you think is funny, but actually it turns out that you've got it wrong, basically, which sort of sums up almost everything I've ever said. I half expected to find a picture of me next to the definition. You know, like in that joke in The Simpsons. That's a funny joke, isn't it? Remember when The Simpsons was funny? Anyway, I hope you're taking care of yourself during this time that we're all going through right now. I really, really need a haircut. I hope your problems are as facile as mine. Ooh, facile, that's a good word, isn't it? I wonder, maybe I should do a subscribe or something. I don't know. There's stuff coming up on the screen right now, maybe.